What's up, y'all? Welcome to Connecting the Dots podcast. It is me, Kymmy Coco, and I have a special guest, and I invited him for a specific reason, Mr. Rahiem Shabazz.
How you doing?
Good. I'm so glad to have you here.
And I am happy to be here myself.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about who he is so you'll know. If you recognize his shirt, he has a clothing line. It's called Wingy, and in Swahili it means abundance.
And we believe that abundance begins in the mind, and if you have it in abundance, you must give because no one went broke from giving. And also, Wingy is the outfitters for freedom fighters everywhere.
Oh, nice. Well, let me tell you some other things about Rahiem Shabazz. He is the owner of Rasha Entertainment, Inc., an award-winning journalist in filmmaking. The gifted writer byline has been spotted on pages of The Source, XXL Magazine, Vibe Magazine, Rolling Out, Urban Enterprise Magazine, AllHipHop.com, to name a few. Shabazz has appeared on BET, Stars in Black, and MTV News. He has interviewed an array of celebrities, including Tyler Perry, 50 Cent, Magic Johnson. He is also a documentary filmmaker. He executive produced Elementary Genocide, and there's 1, 2, and 3, as you can see right here. So if you pick that up. Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon as well as elementarygenocide.com.
So go to elementarygenocide.com and check these out. If you don't know, they're kind of centered around the Black experience, the school to prison pipeline, and just how we got to where we got. He's also routinely appears on television. I know that you said that BET always taps into your intelligence for some of their things. And I met you personally at an event BET had where David Banner was doing this filming for a special show that BET had, and it was Finding Justice.
Yeah.
And he did a wonderful job speaking that day. And he's also in
Elementary
Genocide 3, okay, along with a couple of other names you might recognize.
Killer Mike, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Umar Johnson, Supreme Understanding, Kalaji Changa, Daruba Ben Wahad, Queen Saharazad Ali,
Yes.
Zaza Ali, Copper Kymmy, Professor James Small, and the list goes on and on and on.
So the reason why I asked him specifically to come today is because I noticed a lot going on social media. I'm going to tell you about how my week went and everything and how it got to this point, and then maybe you'll understand. So last week I went to Selma, and I'd never been to Selma, but I have been to rural South America. Mm-hmm. And to me, Selma is another rural South America town that just happened to have something historic happen there, where on Bloody Sunday, which we remembered yesterday, was when the freedom fighters was John Lewis, Martin Luther King Jr., numerous other civil rights leaders and activists in 1965 went there to march for the Voting Rights Act.
Absolutely.
And the person that was, I think, governor at the time was Wallace.
No, wasn't it Bull O'Connor?
I think it was Wallace. But anyway,
George Wallace?
They were going to march to the governor's mansion, and he said no, by any means necessary, stop them. So the police attacked them, brutally beat them. And this is after a police killed a young man in that area. So we were in Selma. All the Democratic candidates were there. Amy Klobuchar, Michael Bloomberg, whoever was running. The only person that wasn't there was Bernie. And to me, that kind of just set off a series of events that happened within the last 6 days, right? Because now we've seen it's really come down to just the two people. Anyway, also, to me, the candidates, none of their policies, none of their agendas, none of the rhetoric that you see online just really focuses on a certain group of people that I represent, that you represent. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like this age of maybe like 30 to 50-year-olds who grew up with policies that Giuliani, Bloomberg, Pataki, Trump,
Ed Koch.
Remember him? Yeah. Mm-hmm. David Dinkins. I mean, we grew up during a time where these people actually made decisions that affected our lives, especially being from New York. You know what I mean? And to me, we are a group that's been largely ignored. I see that Bernie Sanders asked Public Enemy to perform for
At his
him
concert.
at his rally, and I said,
Convention.
well, maybe they're not ignoring us because they specifically to me speak to us. Public Enemy was very influential to people our age growing up during the time when, like I said, the laws that these people that I just named were enforced. And, you know, we saw the movie about the 5 young black men in Central Park.
When they see us,
Though they are our age. You know what I mean? Like, we were the people the police were targeting. Out of some of that stuff, out of that pain, out of that drama that was going on, something else was going on behind the scenes, which was hip-hop. So you were a hip-hop journalist.
absolutely.
A lot of the things that you do now speak to the situation that led us to where we are now as a people. So I just think that I wanted to lean on you for some expertise as to how we got where we are now.
I don't know if I can give you the expertise, but I can give you the Rahiem Shabazz perspective.
Well, that's what I want.
And I think my perspective definitely speaks to that demographic that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think my perspective speaks to those that are yearning for change and that's no longer going to be bamboozled.
Yeah.
It's going to be hoodwinked and led amok, and how Malcolm X said, astray.
Led astray, yeah.
Because we know, you know, that the mainstream media be lying half the time about these polls, and that all of it is just to, you know, garner the vote for black people. And that's why we seen early on when they were saying that Kamala Harris was gonna win the Democratic election, and you know, once her record was revealed, black people got on cold and said, nah, you was a prosecutor, you didn't operate in our best interest then, and we don't think you're gonna do it now. And everything you saying is you just saying that to, you know, get our votes. But I think the main thing that happened with her is, when we was talking earlier, I was telling you, is that when she went on national TV, when a young sister was asking her what she felt about reparations, and she clearly stated, if you think I'm gonna do something specifically for black folks, then you wrong, you know? So she didn't get the vote. And a lot of people that didn't have a strong platform on reparations, like Bernie Sanders and others, they're not getting the black vote. And I think doing the, having that concert, convention, or whatever they want to call it with Public Enemy was his last dish and hope. And that ain't work for him neither.
So right now, basically, Joe Biden is sweeping the nation.
Pretty much. But you know, he's not really sweeping the nation. It's just that, you know, he garnered more votes than any of the other candidates, and in most states, you know, he's winning, and Bernie's coming in second.
Yeah.
But this is according to the polls. You really can't, you know, you really can't trust these polls. You know, a lot of times they was saying that Joe Biden won this state, and then you find out only 50% of the votes was counted. A lot of times they was jumping the gun. So a lot of times, you know, you just have to wait and see.
So what they've shown so far in the polls, or whatever, the early voting went on in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So here in Georgia, what's happening is, and this is what I'm thinking is happening around the country, because the states that Joe Biden won, he won by a lot. In some of the states where Bernie Sanders lost, he's losing by more than he lost before. So I think that by him not showing up in Alabama, and then he canceled his Mississippi thing, and people are kind of getting turned off, because it looks to me like Bernie is like, okay, well, the South, they're not feeling me. That's what most of the black voters are. So I'm just going to appeal to the white working class now.
And if he do that, that would be a grave mistake.
Well, that's what I think he's doing, because he canceled his trip to Mississippi. He went to Michigan.
What was his reason? He didn't give a reason?
In my opinion, it's because they have more delegates. And if he wins Mississippi, okay, but if he wins Michigan, he gets more delegates.
And delegates
is what you need to get.
Yeah,
so
it might be strategic strategy.
That was a strategy, but is that still, you're sending the message, hey, we didn't vote yet here in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so what kind of message was that? Now, I understand that he has some heavy hitters on his team right now. You know what I mean? And one of them is Killer Mike. Killer Mike is a pro Bernie. So I was like, oh, hey, well, maybe they'll do something in Atlanta like what they did in LA with PE. Maybe Killer Mike could do a concert in. But I don't know, because Keisha Lance Bottoms endorsed Joe Biden.
You know why she did that though, right?
But she did it like last year.
But you know why she did? You know why she did that though, right?
Why?
You gotta follow the money, sis.
Yeah.
You know, he donated, I think it was $500,000 at first, and then over time, I think it was it was a significant amount of money that he donated to a campaign. And then you got to think about it. If he does clinch the Democratic nomination and he wins and he becomes president, I guarantee you when her time is up, yeah, she'll get a job all the way to Washington. And that's way more money than that she'll make as the mayor of Atlanta. And I was disappointed when I seen that, because I was like, wow, everybody's waiting, and you just jump out the gate.
From the door.
And, you know, that bag must have been real heavy for you to do that. But one of the things she said, and it didn't make sense, when people was questioning her, asking her, why would you, you know, Joe Biden, why would you do that? And she said that she would rather have someone that know where the lights is at and able to turn the lights on their first day in the White House, as opposed to someone that's new and coming in and got to find out where the lights is at. So in other words, she was saying that Bernie Sanders, being that he was, not Bernie Sanders, pardon me, Joe Biden, being that he was vice president, that he's already familiar with Washington, D.C. and the White House. But listen, that should never be a criteria, you know what I mean? Because a lot of them have senator backgrounds. Obama was a senator, you know what I mean? He had to become used
Cory Booker was a senator.
Yeah, they have to become used to the White House, you know what I mean? So
you know,
just because someone was there...
Yeah, it doesn't mean they've done good. Because
absolutely.
Bernie Sanders, he is a senator, but guess what? People around D.C. on Capitol Hill say he's hard to work with. He's stubborn. He don't want to compromise on anything. He, you know, so to me, the people that are already working, like Senator Kamala and, you know, those people, the ones that got behind him right away after they dropped out, is because they know he's easier to work with. I don't care. I know for a fact that these are all three over 70-year-old men. Mm-hmm. Okay, like Trump is over 70, Bernie is over 70, Biden is over 70. So
not only that, they're over 70 and they're white men, old white men.
All of them. So it's like, okay, that's what the country, that's what they want. That's what they see as a leader. Okay, cool, whatever. Now this is who we have to deal with. So all that talking about, you know, oh, well, he's older. Like, you can't really take too many shots at either one of them, because they're all in the same boat, really. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's why people are stuck between choosing for the lesser of two evils.
Again, we still don't get it. We still don't have enough faith in each other to trust that we're doing the right thing. Because the younger people, to me, is what Bernie is appealing to. He's appealing to the younger crowd. Well, guess what? The younger crowd is not doing anything that you can't do on the internet. If you have to go somewhere and do something, mm-hmm. they're not doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's why the chatter online is so loud for him. And it looks like, wow, he might do this. But then when it comes down to who went out there and voted.
I think the real test, you know, they're talking about Super Tuesday Part 2.
Right.
There's 6 more primaries.
Right, the next
So
few.
I think this one, after this one, is probably what's going to determine who's going to be the front runner.
Absolutely.
For
the
Democrats.
Such a lead right now. And for him to get down to this point where it's a critical, Georgia is critical. Mm-hmm. Georgia not only leads, you know, I guess how many delegates we have, but in hip hop culture, Georgia is very influential. Mm-hmm. So what message is the candidate going to send? Look at what we had go on. Look at what we had go on this year. We had Tom Steyer on stage with Juvenile backing his ass up. We had
Coonery.
We had all of these candidates appealing to the hip hop crowd. And like I said, specifically, I want to talk to you because you are a part of the generation that hip hop was born in. We really are the ones that shaped this culture. So those are the people that I need people to try to tap into and talk to. Like I said, we grew up under Giuliani. We grew up under Bloomberg. We grew up under Pataki. Mm-hmm. We grew up as Trump being, the guy that's skirting around town with Al Sharpton. So nobody asks us, and we're the ones that are voting according to the polls, the people between the ages of like 35 and 60. So specifically, we might not care about our student loans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Either we pay them or we're not paying them, and we've gotten used to them being on our credit report, and we just skirted around it for years. What candidate is speaking directly to us is Joe Biden. Like, Bernie has turned his back on a lot of people. He still has time, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like he has, and that's just my opinion. So I think that hip-hop should be more involved, because obviously, the reason why I'm saying this, I'm sorry, I may have skipped this. I think that people don't vote or they don't get involved because they don't think that they matter. And the hip-hop generation is the most influential in politics, in everything, in culture, in everything, style.
I think people realize that voting does matter, but if you don't have a viable candidate for them to vote for, then they're going to sit it out. Like with me, the last time I vote was, what was that, 2008? When was
Obama.
That? When he first ran.
Right.
Right? Then when I seen, his second time for running, I see he really didn't deliver, so I didn't vote for him, And then with Hillary and Trump, I sat that one out, and it looks like I'm going to sit this one out. Because if you don't have a specific policy that directly is for the black agenda, and I'm not voting. And with Joe Biden and the 1994 crime bill, I was directly impacted by that.
Exactly.
Like I got incarcerated in 1994 under that criminal that
Joe
crime
Biden's
bill.
crime bill that
crime
he wrote.
bill, yeah.
But Bernie Sanders voted for that.
Yeah,
crime
he
bill.
voted for that too. I know.
So it's just, like you said, we're in a position now where it's like, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? And when do you think we should have our own representation, our own party?
That's what, and see, this is why I said that black folks might just need to sit out 2020 and concentrate on 2024 and have a candidate that they can push for a third party, because Bernie Sanders already proved, he's really not a Democrat. Some people may say he's a libertarian, but he's calling himself a Democrat, socialist, but he's really not a Democrat. And he could have, pretty much he's independent. Now, if you get a candidate that's independent and the masses of people get behind them and vote for them, then you can have where you break up this two-party political system. So getting back to what I was saying, under that crime bill, in 1994, you had Governor Pataki, where if you had a violent felony offense, it was mandatory that you didn't make the parole board. Like, I had a 4 to 8, I wound up doing 6 years in prison, right? And I graduated at the top 5% of my class, like 8 days before I got released. But the reason why they gave me that significant time was because of the crime bill. And everybody that was in there, 80% of the people got hit at the board when I went. So they, when I was surprised, and everybody was like, "You ain't no different." What you thought you was going home, but it was because of that crime bill, and maybe to people coming of age, it didn't directly impact them, but there's hundreds and thousands of people that crime bill directly impact, and that is impacting today. And just remember, I wasn't the only one in jail.
No.
My family and people that had to come see me and visit me, all of them did that time with me.
Right.
From the precinct to the door. So I think it's unfortunate, and then let me say this, right? We gotta stop being the individuals that accept everybody's apology when it's time for election. Like with Bloomberg, weeks before he announced his candidacy, he was still defending his stop and frisk policy.
And when we went to Selma, and I sat in that church that day, and when he started up to speak, those people turned their backs on him.
I seen that.
And that was very symbolic to me. I think that last Sunday, like I said, it was very symbolic of what was going on.
Can I ask you a question? You was in Selma, right? Mm-hmm. Did anybody speak the name Nathaniel Woods?
No, and that is I'm very glad you asked me that, because that's a point that I wanted
because
to make.
The next day he was executed. None of those politicians wanted to touch that.
But
see, people got to pay attention.
Okay, and this is what this is where I am with that.
Yeah.
When we vote, even now, there are more than just those Democratic candidates or Republican candidates, whatever your political affiliation is. There's more than just that on there. There's judges on there.
Mm-hmm. There's governor.
I'm saying specifically this election. And in your state, you have to find out who your local leaders are. Because to me, that's more important than the president. Because the president can't do anything unless they bring those laws across his desk and he signs off on them. So the work gets done before it gets to him. You know,
the president couldn't even, unless he would have gave him I don't even think he could have did that with a pardon or nothing like that. Once it went to the Supreme Court, right, and the Supreme Court gave a stay, and the stay was for them to re-examine the case, right? So within 3 hours, they came back and said, nah,
But see, this is the problem I have when black people don't vote. Who voted for that governor? Because ultimately, it was her decision.
Yeah.
And we went in Selma, that name should have been brought up.
And
that
it's
issue
not.
should have been brought up.
Not, and it wasn't.
But it took somebody. And I call them the black blue checks, right? The black people on Instagram, on Twitter that are influencers, to bring that to the attention of everyone.
Oh no, she's gonna be held accountable. Everybody
so they had a
already
march
said
and they were going to her house, and they're gonna hold her accountable. But how are you gonna hold her accountable if you're not voting?
I got a question though. Why? Because it seems like this always happen. Like, how long do we know this man was about to get executed?
Thank you.
Well, to be honest with you,
I'm sure you knew.
I just found out.
No, I know the public
within the week.
But I'm just saying,
and
like,
you're very aware of
things.
But
so
no, I'm just saying.
For you to have just found out, that means that enough attention wasn't brought soon enough to affect a change. But when people say stuff like what he just said, right? Like, black people don't vote. But the laws that they pass directly affect us more than anybody else a lot of times. So why should you not vote? What if you did not vote for that lady?
Like, we wait to basically, this was all within the last week we started hearing about this man. This man's been in jail for what, 20-some years?
20-some years.
We knew he was getting executed. Why at the last, that was the same thing even with, what's the Crip named Tukey?
Oh yeah, Tukey.
At the end, they try to make a push. Like, you got to put a plan together. You're supposed to have some stuff for 5 years to be fighting for this. In 5 years, this man getting executed.
But see, you know what? But this is another thing. Even though he was on death row, they just announced, they don't announce it months, in advance that your execution day, like they'll tell you next week you're getting executed. You know what I mean? Because it's already set in motion, you exhaust your appeals. But the sad thing about that particular case is that his initial lawyer was a public defender that never tried a capital murder case. So he was disqualified. He shouldn't even been qualified to do this case. Then you had
oh my God,
another,
you know what? I'm lying. I lied on somebody.
What?
When I was in Selma, look what somebody gave me. I took a picture of the flyer.
Oh, they gave it to you. But
so
all right, they gave it to you.
They were mentioning his name. But there was
somebody. Any of the
there was a
candidates?
young woman on foot. No, it was just one young lady that was on foot handing out these flyers, and I took a picture of it because I was gonna bring it up when I came to the show, which obviously is too late. But here is the flyer. There was a young lady out on the street handing out flyers, and it really came down to that, and none of the candidates, right? But I'm sure, look, what if that young lady had gotten to somebody? I mean, when I tell you, look on our Instagram page, CTD_ATL on Instagram. I was there, and I shook hands with Jesse Jackson. I shook hands with Al Sharpton. I shook hands with, what's the pastor's name from Belly, at the end of Belly?
Ben Chavis.
I shook hands with Ben Chavis. I actually met these people. So if that young lady had that opportunity, she had the opportunity to change somebody's life. But that wasn't brought to the attention of anybody soon enough. But what if you know this lady, Kay Ivey, why did y'all vote for her? The people that vote are voting for their interests. We have to vote for ours. And even though I understand, trust me, my ancestors, I could go take you right now to Wilkes County, Georgia, and show you the plantation where they worked at. They haven't changed a damn thing in that city since 1865, okay? The plantation homes are still there. The slave quarters are still there. I get it. I've seen how generationally that has affected my family directly. I get it. But we live here in this country where people are vying for the attention of everybody and not just us. So either we're going to have our own political party that speaks for us, because obviously they know the power of the black vote, or else Tom Steyer wouldn't be backing his ass up with Juvenile, and you wouldn't have all this other stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
But it just goes to show you, they know the power of the black vote, but look at the tactics that they're using to try to get the black votes. Like, we're stupid enough
to fall for that.
But
let me finish. Is so easy.
No, hip hop is not that easy, you know, and that's the problem. Like, this same hip hop music used to be vilified for its content and lyrics. Now you're using it to garner votes. You know, Bernie Sanders using Public Enemy. You know, this guy, I don't even know his name. He was a latecomer. Tom Steyer is using Juvenile. And there's no doubt that, and we've seen it with the election of Barack Obama, that hip-hop can change the political landscape. You know what I mean? Because we went out in droves in numbers. But we're not stupid. You know what I mean? That's why Kamala Harris ain't get the vote. That's why Joe Biden is not getting the vote. Let me tell you why Joe Biden won in Alabama and South Carolina is because there are a lot of those civil rights leaders, you know, and many of them, it's sad to say, is a part of the political establishment, and a lot of them are handkerchief head Negroes that no matter who is the front runner, as long as they Democrat, they're going to go with that party line. And that's sad, you know, because Joe Biden, he hasn't done nothing significantly for black people. He doesn't have a black agenda, so why give him the vote?
So now, I asked my father.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying, and I asked him that because I couldn't understand, because I'm just like, please, nobody's really going to vote for Joe Biden, right? Clearly.
Nah, them older black people.
I don't want to call them names, because in the media lately.
Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't.
In the media lately, I've seen them call them uninformed voters. They've just given them all these names. These are the people that, listen, I was sat right next to one of the foot soldiers at that church that day. My father grew up in Jim Crow, right here in Wilkes County, Jim Crow South. The laws that were passed, if they didn't affect them, we can't understand like how bad it was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it was fucked up for them. They couldn't go and sit and do and the things that we were able to do with the police on our ass. We did it, but they couldn't even do it at all. You know what I mean? They tried to intimidate us out of doing it, and we weren't having it. We grew up in that fight the power generation with Public Enemy. You know what I mean? But the laws literally said they could not do it. Right? They were literally lynched. They were literally taken downtown. They had a day of the week that they would take the most popular criminal down and hang them in the middle of that was the entertainment of the town. Like, I get it. So my dad, even though these laws he couldn't do shit, he had to go to Vietnam and fight for this country. So I'm reluctant to call them uninformed voters. I'm reluctant to call them, you know, and say that they are less informed or ignorant, because they actually lived it. The reason why they're voting like this is because they witnessed firsthand, more than us maybe, because we created our own world that we could live in. But they understand that we have to come together with people that might not be black but understand what black people are going through and they're willing to work with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think
but
that's
that's
where
not
that's
Joe
coming
Biden.
from.
That's not Joe Biden.
But I don't know him, but what about the people that he could bring to his cabinet? The people that he could bring to the government? I get, like I said, all three of them to me are on the same.
That's why Joe Biden winning, because it's people still on that Obama hope. You
Yeah,
still
it's just
expecting
like,
Obama
yo.
out of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Listen.
Look at his policy. It's about policies. Like,
Let me tell you something, right? If we gotta endure 4 more years of Trump, then so be it. Like, listen, we are resilient people. If
Yeah.
we survive
Yeah,
slavery,
that's true.
Jim Crow, 4 more years of Trump is not gonna kill us, people. But within those 4 years, we have to start vetting candidates now, bringing someone that we know this is the one. You know what I mean? Like, there's a senator, there's somebody, there might be even a Congress member. There might be someone
There might
that's
be
on the
somebody
school
walking down the
board
street
that has the tenacity to fight, that want to be on the right side of history, and we need to start with them right now. It's a wrap for 2020. In my opinion, Joe Biden is going to get it because the Democrat Party, they're going to choose who the front runner is going to be, and it's not going to be Bernie. And that's who we're going to have to deal with to go against Trump. And if he wins, he wins. But if not, then it's going to be Trump.
So what about the older black people that say, when it comes down to stuff like this, we are torn. Our generation is definitely torn away from them. And the generation under that, like, we are separated from that generation. What do you say to the people in that generation that say, you know what? When it's time for stuff like this, black people scream, we're not a monolith. But at the times like this, white people say, whatever is in our own interest, we don't give a fuck. We'll settle the rest later. We're standing behind this person. And that's the only reason why and how Trump got elected.
You said the right thing. White people said what's in our best interest. Black people can't say what's in our best interest because he's not in our best interest. If it was somebody that we'd be like, well, remember, we're not looking for a Messiah. We're not looking for Jesus.
We're not looking for.
We're looking somebody. They're gonna have some type of baggage with them.
Absolutely.
Yes. But he got too much baggage. So I just think that in 2024, the Democrats is gonna know that you can't just have 15 people on stage and it's like throwing everything on the wall and see what sticks. You know what I mean? Like, and that was another thing. It was disunity. How many Republicans was there? Anybody know how many Republicans
are running?
Yeah.
Right now? I think the guy that was running against Trump dropped out. Let me check.
Yeah,
but
see?
I think that it's
see
just
how they get on cold.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But he represents their interests. We would get on cold too if we had somebody that represent our interests. Who has the black agenda? Nobody. They would tell you Pacific. I'm in favor of studying HR 40. Study it. It been for 40 years.
Right,
Y'all didn't finish studying it?
Right.
So guess what? I'm still studying the vote and who I'm going to vote for. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Until y'all get that, y'all studying HR 40, well, I'm still studying who I'm going to vote for.
Okay, wait a minute. So I want to ask you a question. If there were a candidate that said, you know what, we did enough studying, reparations are for African descendants of slaves only, period, boom, bap, and come sign up and get your check. How do you even go? Where do you go to even find out if you are an African descendant of a slave?
I don't know about everybody else, but
do you
I'm
think that those
able
are
to
the only
trace
people that should get it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
ADOS, period.
Everybody else, got reparations. And that's the sad part about it. Kamala Harris, even though she said that she will not do nothing specifically for African Americans, descendants of slaves or whatever. Mm-hmm. Soon as she lost, she started campaigning for the LBG Equality Act, and which is another bill that's reparation, that's for them. So it's just people, and most of her campaign was supported by them. So it just goes to show you that when you vet these politicians, You can't just say, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. You have to put your money and your political clout behind them.
To answer your question, so Donald Trump, right now, the delegate count for him is 833. Someone named Bill Weld is running with him.
Never heard of him.
He's got one delegate. So, I mean, it's clearly
That's an
open and shut case. And so they don't
high
have the
school
problem that we
coach.
have. They don't have the problems that we have with picking somebody and going with that.
And that's the Democratic Party. Because they, Nancy Pelosi, whatever, she should have sat them in a room and been like, listen,
But I think she did, because look what happened this week.
Yeah, you're playing game. Nah, they had to do that. A lot of them was running out of money. Super Tuesday decides everything. And then you even see, what was it, Elizabeth Warren? She was like the last one, right?
Tulsi Gabbard is still in it, people. I just want
Oh,
y'all
come
to know.
on.
She's
Are you
still
serious?
in it, yeah.
I haven't heard her name in like the last
because
6 weeks.
So Hillary, a few months ago, said that Tulsi Gabbard was running a campaign that was basically funded by the Russians, and the Russian bots are behind it. And hey, if that's true,
That's what Hillary said?
that's what she said. And so Tulsi
Wow.
tried to sue her and said that it was defamation, but it never really went any further, because usually when you sue somebody or you bring them to trial or to court or to any type of hearing, there has to be some proof. You know what I mean? So
We probably
she coulda
didn't hear
shot
nothing
herself in
from
the
it
foot.
because if it's a
If it's
legal
tr-
proceeding, they probably issue a gag order and say
Yeah,
don't talk about
all
it, this,
that
that, and the
stuff.
other. But yeah, that's sad though that she's not even mentioned. But I just think that there
So we
needs
do
to
have
be.
another choice to that point. I don't know. if
Oh,
anybody-
huh? I don't know too much about it, but the whole political process, man, is just unfortunate, and we starting to see that it can be real
Hectic.
hectic.
At
You know what I
best.
mean? At best. Now
So-
you wanted to talk about the Public Enemy thing, right?
I did, and I think people don't understand. And I found something I wanted to share with you guys, because the rumor going around is that Public Enemy broke up because Chuck D, DJ Lord, and the new Public Enemy Radio went and did a rally for Bernie. Flavor Flav went on the record as saying he wasn't down with it. He was like, Bernie, stop trying to use Public Enemy, and I'm not a part of it, and blah, blah, blah. So the rumors started going around that that's what broke up the group. That is not what broke up the group. Back in 2017, Flavor Flav filed a lawsuit against Chuck D and said that the profits from their music, merchandise, and concerts will be split between them. Despite the alleged arrangement, Flavor Flav claimed that Public Enemy's business management firm, Eastlink, had not been sending. Flavor Flav said Public Enemy's business management firm, Eastlink, had not been sending the earnings that he is owed, which have diminished to almost nothing. So this was an article that was in Rolling Stone, and this was back in 2017. But this has been going on between the two groups for years. So I don't want people to think that this all happened just because of Bernie Sanders' campaign. Clearly they have some background stuff going on, and this just happened around this time. Maybe Flavor Flav's not backing Bernie Sanders, and he didn't appreciate the Public Enemy name being attached to it, which allegedly, according to what they're saying here, Chuck D owns the name. But they're touring now, and they're doing shows under the name Public Enemy Radio, and not just
Oh,
Public
so they
Enemy.
changed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that it's a sad day in hip hop that they can't reconcile the differences behind closed doors. Initially, when it came out, I was one of the first individuals who's like, wow, this ain't even right, because it was perceived that he was being kicked out of the group because of this situation with him not wanting to back Bernie Sanders, not wanting his name, image, and likeness, because they have the silhouette of Flavor Flav.
That's
You know
Chuck
what I
D,
mean?
I thought. Chuck D, okay, so Flavor Flav allegedly, and I'm going to take it to be kind of true because that's what you said.
Yeah.
But Chuck D actually made that logo. He drew it. Like,
But yeah, he owns the. You see, this is the thing, right? A lot of times when you sign with a record label, the record label owns your rights, your image, your logo. So he owns it, but that should be owned by the group. That's like if me, you, and the brother right here is in the group, but you own the logo. The logo should be owned by the group.
Right.
But either way, he didn't want his name associated with it, rightfully so. He doesn't have to back a candidate
Right.
he doesn't want to be with. But then it came out that this was an ongoing thing of him missing shows and you know. But I just think that if he was going to do it, the timing was wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm sure in hindsight, now he looked back at it, he's probably like, damn, I shouldn't have fired him around this time. But once again, you know, how Flavor said that, yo, he's not an employee. You can't fire him. Like, we equal partners. How could you fire me? So I think that, you know, we're going to see how this play out. But initially, I was like, wow, this is what we're doing right now? Because you got to remember, you know, Professor Griff
He
got
was the
kicked
first
out of the
one,
group.
yeah.
Because, you know, he said something that was perceived as anti-Semitic. And I think it was Leo Colin. He took Chuck D to the Holocaust Museum and showed him, you know, the plight of what happened to Jewish people. And after he seen that, he told Griff, you got to go. And that was the situation. So a lot of people was looking at it like, you know, we know the Jews run the music industry, and now Bernie's a Jew, and Flav don't want to endorse him. Now he's kicked out.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
When he came out and he explained everything that was going on and that this was years in the making,
Yeah.
you know, you got to say, oh, all right. You know, but I just think the timing was wrong. The timing was wrong. And then, well, what's the song? By the time I get to Arizona,
Yeah.
he said that he doesn't
Do that song anymore?
No. He said he doesn't. I'm trying to think about the lyrics.
Oh.
In other words, he was saying that he's not down with the donkey,
Or
with the jackass,
right.
or the elephant,
Yeah.
which was the Democrats and the Republicans. And now,
But Chuck D is 60-something years old now.
what that mean?
So
That
now
mean when you
he's-
get old, you get docile, and you.
I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, sometimes when you get older, you change
No, when
your
you
mind.
get older,
and
you more mature. You start to see things in advance. You start to see things for what it is and not what it presents itself to be. You know what I mean? This man doesn't. And then that's what made Chuck Public Enemy. There was the enemy, and it was against the establishment. So
during the time when we had.
But listen, there's nothing wrong for him feeling that, yo, Bernie's that guy. And he resonates with me. As an individual, you have a right to do that. But you shouldn't have made it a group thing. You know what I mean? And I think people would have respected that more. You know, look, Killer Mike, you know, he's there for Bernie. You know what I mean? Some people don't like it, but, you know, we know Killer Mike, who he is. We know his politics. And we know that he has a love and care for black people, you know. But I don't know, man. A lot of people have been questioning Chuck D for some time now. There's some other things.
I mean,
I've been
there's
hearing.
plenty of things I could think about that if I was in Public Enemy that Flavor Flav has done that he should get kicked out for, and this ain't one of them. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
a lot of people was like, well, you should have
if you
kicked
didn't
him out.
kick him
with
out
it.
after Flavor of Love, you didn't think that
Yeah.
messed up the image of the group. I mean, like, what else could he do? Or
But then
anything?
again, though, you know, to Flavor's defense, you know, Flavor was Flavor. You know,
That
what
was
I mean?
who he was.
And
That was
that's
the
who
part of the group
was.
he represented.
And so
Yeah.
anything that he did on Love and Hip Hop and anything after that, he wasn't off code. You know, but at times, you know, people, you know, they look at him and they see that, but they don't perceive him as being someone that's intellectually smart. You know what I mean? And he ain't stupid by far. You know, so he was just like, nah, y'all not gonna use me as a tool and a slave. Take my image off of that. And, you know, from what I'm told, that's what they did, and the show went on,
And so Bernie
Bernie
went to
still
LA
lost.
and he won California,
Oh, he
but
won
he
California.
skipped Mississippi, which is sending a message. And that's why I said what I said. When he went to LA with Public Enemy, great, you might have done well, and I don't think they're even done counting in California. But if he did win California, you still fucked over the whole South because
they counting
you
the delegates.
Exactly.
That's what they doing, and you know what? That's
And
another.
you don't even if you win, you get the majority, and even if you have to split them with somebody, like, you're still in the lead by so much because the people that you're playing by not showing up to to these places are the ones showing up to vote. They're not just sitting on Twitter talking shit.
Yeah.
They're actually the ones that are showing up to vote and changing the landscape of this whole thing.
I think, I'm sure he got strategy managers, and they vetted the numbers and went over everything.
Yeah. And they made a
there's
better
a rhyme
decision.
to the reason why, I don't look at it as he not caring about the people in Mississippi. Nah, he like, listen.
They have more delegates.
And you know what? That whole delegation
But that
thing,
boils down to the census and voting and
yeah.
getting involved, because the more people that you have count for, the more representatives you have. We have got to. I just want us. I know where you stand. I know you don't think we should waste our vote on somebody that isn't have a black agenda, but by doing that, okay, then do the census. Okay, then vote for your local person. As long as you're doing something, you know what I mean?
We definitely got to vote for
local.
Yeah, I'd say it all the time.
The judges and the people that we interact with.
All politics is local. If someone would have voted for the right candidate for governor, then Nathan Woods would have been here today. So I'm all for voting locally, and it's some people are saying vote down.
Vote blue no matter who?
No, some people, not blue, no. Well, that's considered voting down, but they not going to engage themselves in the presidential election just to show them that, look, in 2024, y'all better come with a better plan, else y'all going to have Trump 2.0. And listen, if you think that the Democrats, if they lose again, right, and Trump is president one more time, you think in 2024 they're not gonna come with something that's tangible, where they say, you know what, we gotta do something for them, else we're not gonna get the vote.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, it's you know why local politics is where it's at, because also, even if you have a president that's in there, right? If you don't control the House, you don't control the Senate, then Mitch McConnell, right?
Mitch McConnell.
He just came out and said that if Trump loses, whoever gets into office, he's not gonna let any bill or any legislation.
He is
come
just.
through.
I mean, that's who. I think the people. But that's Kentucky. Kentucky has to.
No, it's not. Yeah, Kentucky has to get him out. But listen, he did the same thing to Obama for 8 years. Obama couldn't even get a Supreme Court justice in there because he wouldn't pass it.
So that's Kentucky. So why don't we have somebody on the ground in Kentucky telling these people in Kentucky?
They've been doing it for years.
We got to get to Kentucky then. I mean, if we see that's a key state.
I can't vote in Kentucky. You can't vote in Kentucky.
We got to get to the people that do vote in Kentucky.
Look, they've been telling the people in Kentucky since Obama was in office that this man has to go. And let me tell you something. He is politically connected. His wife sits on a board of a company that he just donated millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to. The conflict of interest was there, and there's nothing being done. And this is what they do.
There's something that I wanted to talk about before I talk about coronavirus. The correction officers that you posted on your Instagram about something about the prison in Mississippi. The prison in Mississippi are being sued by Rock Nation representatives, headed up by Jay-Z and
what's
his name?
Moneybag
Yo Gotti.
Yo Gotti. I get them mixed up.
So another thing. Okay, here we go again. Hip hop is at the forefront of something that's political. Wouldn't it make sense for us to make people understand how important it is to vote for your governor and whoever is headed of these states, and specifically now Mississippi, which, since the Mississippi prison system is having these problems, wouldn't it have been a great thing for Bernie to have gone to shed light on some of these things, to team up with a Jay-Z or a Yo Gotti? Like, we're not using the pieces to our chess game strategically enough, if you ask me.
No, it's not. It's not us. It's the politicians. Like, it shouldn't be for us to go and say, "Hey, Bernie, you need Mississippi, so you need to go down there and speak about the prisons." You know what I mean? Like, you should already know that. And if you don't, and that's why, then you ain't the candidate for us.
Okay. This week I found out that coronavirus. Is everybody okay? You scared? Is everybody washing their hands more? Have you changed your life? Are you not hugging people? Are you changing anything?
Yeah, I am being more conscious. I was at I went and met someone at Lenox Mall.
If you went to Lenox
The
Mall,
other day.
baby, coronavirus is the last of your worries because they've been shooting people at Lenox Mall every week for the past couple of months. Have
They
you not
shooting
seen that?
people? Nah.
Yeah, have you guys not heard about people getting shot at Lenox Mall?
One of the Macy's workers, they shot her in a parking lot.
Twice, 2 people.
Wow. Well, you know,
But anyway.
I'm trained to go, so I don't really worry
Right.
about that. But when I went there, I seen my cousin. That's who I was going to meet, and he went to give me 5, and I was like, nah. Hit him with the elbow. We tapped elbows. A couple of people ran into me. Yo, Rahiem. No.
So
Hit him
you're
with the
changing
elbow.
that. I'm washing my
Nah,
hands.
but I did that like that first
For
day,
a joke.
and then I was like, you know what? I ain't doing all that.
So Trump came here on Friday. I don't know if
Oh,
you guys
I
recognize
heard
the
about
traffic was
that.
jacked up. They shut down a couple of highways, and he went to the CDC. Now we know that there's 5 people here in Atlanta that have it, and the people that are stuck on that boat off of the coast of San Francisco, which to me is ridiculous because this is the same boat where they found the first person at. So why they sent that same boat out there again? I don't know. But anyway, here we are. They're stuck out there. Guess where they're coming to be quarantined?
The CDC?
No.
Where?
Dobbins Air Force Base on Cobb Parkway.
Oh, wow.
So I guess now Cobb County will be the county in Georgia that has the most coronavirus cases. So, I mean, I live up there.
What, you mean the most people that's quarantined?
Well,
there?
just they're really just going by the people that have it, whether they're in quarantine, whether they're home quarantine, which another thing I don't know, what does home quarantine mean? Because if you tell me, oh, you got to stay home, I'm like, okay. But after a couple of days, I'm like, well, it won't matter if I put on my mask and like walk to the store or
Do you
take the
feel
garbage
do y'all
out.
feel like this is being blown out of proportion? Because I seen a meme. I don't know how true it is, but it added up. Every election years, there's a virus.
Yeah. That's
I'm
true.
saying, like, a couple years ago, what happened to
Ebola,
Ebola?
yeah.
What happened to
Yeah.
anthrax? What happened to all this? Like,
Yeah.
we panicking.
Distraction. And then another
Like-
thing.
I'm really not panicking. I think that people take being prepared and being aware as panic because we're so used to being reactive instead of being proactive. So
Nah,
this
people
all
say
looks
that because
foreign to
if that's the
people.
case-
No, people are panicking. All the
And that's what I'm
lights
saying. People
off,
are panicking
all
because
the
if that's
hand
the
wash
case,
is
we
gone.
just heard, what, 2 years ago that Atlanta is like a third world country when it comes to HIV.
Yeah, and nobody's still wearing condoms.
Nobody's panicking.
And sex
You feel
is
me?
still, sex is still the #1 promotion item used around the whole culture. I mean, the strip club, the dirty money. If you are scared of coronavirus, but you up in the Blue Flame with $3 bills up somebody's ass, I don't see how you gonna turn your life around within the next couple of weeks and be a
$3?
germaphobe.
That's it?
I don't know, $40. That's what they say on the internet. I don't know. Whatever the money, period. Just the paper money.
I just feel like people panicking. They pushing this narrative. Like,
I don't think we should panic, but I think we should change and be
it's in
aware.
every news headline. You turn on the news, all they talking about is coronavirus. And it's all these other sicknesses
Because
going
people
going
are
around.
going
Hey,
online
man,
not
to
even
look
as
for
bad as the flu.
information.
Yeah,
flu is
12,
worse than
yeah,
coronavirus.
12,000 people died from the flu this year. Over 12,000 this year thus far.
And my thing is, I'm scared that if we keep washing our hands and hand sanitizer and Lysol, we're going to break down our natural defense system and we're going to have everything but coronavirus. Like, we'll have everything because, we do too much.
But
of
you know
killing.
the coronavirus is not new, right?
No. This
If-
strain is new, and
Yeah.
it affects you directly in your lungs. And so, if you don't have healthy lungs, if you smoke, if you're old, then it could kill you faster. I don't like having any lung issues because I used to have asthma when I was a child,
Yeah.
so it kind of is like more in my mind than in my body whenever I have something in my chest because I think about when I wasn't able to breathe. But those are the people that it affects. So yeah, you might not be affected. You don't smoke. You're young. Your lungs are great. Blah 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 blah. But you might get it and bring it home to your grandma.
And if you really think about it, the social media make it seem like shit been going on for a while. This only been like a week and a half. Coronavirus has been around for a week and a half.
Yeah. So
Or
this
2
week
weeks
it's
max.
been But
It's crazy.
You know what I don't like though? If you go online and you look at some of these major news outlets, they're saying, and they're asking why, as in a bad, why is it not affecting people in Africa?
It is.
Oh, no, listen, only 3 people, there's only 3 known cases, right? And all of them are European individuals. One that traveled from Italy over there, another
yeah.
one that's a Chinese. No black person in Africa has the coronavirus or was affected by it. It was one black guy, he was Nigerian, and that happened to him in China, and supposedly he got cured in a couple of days because our makeup and our predisposition, for some reason, it's not that we can't get it, but we're not susceptible to it as much as the Asians and other people. And they was like, well, why is it not happening in Africa? Like, that was a bad thing. And I just think people need to be aware. We were talking earlier, and I was telling you about an individual. You still have it pulled up?
Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
I just closed it. What was his name again?
Ron Diallo.
I think it was Diallo.
Diallo. Something like that, right? Yeah.
Dalio.
Ron
Dalio, an American billionaire investor, hedge fund manager. Yeah.
And he's a billionaire hedge fund manager of Bridgewater. And he did what they call a put. And in the stock market, where that is you bet against the stock market, if you go online and you read articles from November of 2019, he put $1.5 billion to vote against the stock market and said it would crash by March of 2020. So what happened March 2020? Stock market crash. Why? Coronavirus. So I don't think things happen like this. You know, what he did was unprecedented, and then all of a sudden this coronavirus comes out. Then you look at what's happening with the professor from Harvard University getting arrested for receiving large sum of money from China and sneaking out strains of virus from the lab.
So let's say all of that did happen. I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if where it came from. I heard it came from somebody dealing with animals in China. I heard that. So wherever it came from is here. It's moving this way. Italy is the place where it's bad now, they say, right? Mm-hmm. And so most people that are coming from Italy, if they really stopped people from traveling, which allegedly Trump had no problem doing a few months ago because it was all about the ball and the borders and don't let nobody in.
Yeah,
and
the Muslim ban.
Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you just came from Italy. You're at the airport. Nobody's asking you nothing. They're not telling you to go to the doctor. They're not checking you. It's just, oh, hey, how was your flight? Italy, no problem. Go on to your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should be doing what China is doing, clearly, because we don't have nearly as many cases as they have, or Italy. Italy now has 25% of their population in quarantine.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
When this happened?
Recently.
Wow.
Yesterday, New York declared a state of emergency.
So
they have 3,000 people.
Certain parts of California.
Washington State.
They just canceled
South by Southwest.
Yep.
So I'm not saying we should do what China is doing by any means. Not yet. But if we can do anything so that it doesn't get to the point where we have to do something like what Italy did, at least screen the people that are coming from the places at the airport. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The guy, it's just so bizarre to me that the guy that wanted to close the borders and stop everything a few months ago because of his racist views.
Maybe he has a plan.
Maybe he has a plan.
Maybe he wanted to stop the trade war with China.
Because he was, in fact, in a trade war with China before all this. We don't know what the details were, so that would fit his agenda. And it would also fit his agenda about the border. So I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, whatever the reason is, it could be a million different reasons. He's playing it down because he doesn't want the market to crash on his watch during the time he's trying to win re-election, because then that would be a dirty stain, because his whole thing, yeah, we fucked up, we did this, we did that, but the market is doing well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for him to tell the truth, if it makes the market go down.
Did you hear what he told people?
What?
He said he only know of 5 cases. They quickly recovered.
Yeah,
And
no,
he
he's
told
just
them-
like, just wash your hands.
he
Just
told
wash
them-
your
He told them
hands.
they safe to go to work and be around people.
Exactly.
Like, if one of those people are a teacher in a classroom, and you know what he said? He said, I touch my face all the time. Like, this
He's
is,
a real clown. He's a real ass clown. But
And you know the sad part of it is, that's who he is.
That's who he is.
This is who people voted for.
this is who people voted for.
Look, 19 dead, 475 plus infected as coronavirus spreads across U.S. This is in real time on live CNN. I'm looking at right now.
So-
John Kerry, former Secretary of State.
So here we are. How are we going to get
19
ahead of
dead.
this thing? Because to me, it sounds real fucking scary. Imagine if somebody comes knocking on your door, boom, boom, boom. Hey, come with us. You're going into a quarantine because we don't want you to self-quarantine anymore. We just don't know, and we have to get ahead of it, I think. And we're not getting told the right information from Bozo. We are really, and this is what I need people that voted for Trump to think. You right now are in a position where this man is making decisions that could affect your livelihood. This is the guy you voted for. He's at the CDC like, oh, look at these beautiful tests. They're beautiful. Aren't they nice?
Yeah, he said
Everybody can get one. That is exactly what he said.
Wow.
And-
No, you know what's the real thing though? Did you see? I just put it on Twitter, right? The police in Florida. At first, I thought it was fake news, so I went to the police.
Yeah. What?
I went to their
On
Instagram,
your Twitter?
right? Yeah. They said that they believe that the coronavirus is spreading through drugs.
And money.
And if you receive any drugs,
To
it
bring
probably
it.
came from China or across seas to bring it to the police department. They will test it for you. Or if you want, they will send an officer to your house to test it for you. There is some idiot that will probably go
Yeah,
and
they
do
are.
that.
Yeah, they will.
And your ass is going to jail.
What if they have it on the surface of stuff? I've seen some countries that are hosing their packages down. We're not doing none of that. But what if you?
But you know, money is linen, though. You could wash money.
Okay, but what they said it might be on money. Did you see that?
Yeah. I don't have no money. I got credit cards.
But people still use money.
Yeah, I know people
And what
still
if?
use money.
How do you know that the person that's doing your nails at the Asian nail salon didn't just come back from seeing their auntie or uncle or their parents, and then they came back and start like we haven't even began to think about any of this.
No, well, I have. and I just think, like people need, and listen, let me tell you something. People are not stupid. Like they just had a thing where people are not, the Chinatown, ghost town.
Really?
What? One Chinese restaurant, 90% of business, they had Nancy Pelosi, whatever her
Pelosi.
name. Pelosi. I'll be messing her name up. But they had her in Chinatown and saying, see, it's nice here, eating at the restaurant.
Oh, because they don't want to mess up the economy.
Listen.
Hey, this is another thing, black people. Everywhere we go in a black neighborhood is the Chinese, is the restaurant, is the beauty supply store. It's the, like we have
No,
to. We
yeah, let me tell you something.
If
They had-
it really got that bad, how will we? I mean, we gotta get ahead of that.
They got articles where black beauty
Supply stores
yeah.
are low on.
No, they saying that their business is suffering because they are not buying nothing from China. It's hard to get stuff from China.
Right,
in
'cause
here
nobody's
now.
working.
Yeah, the factories are shut down.
And that's the thing about the economy. It's global.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. When you say people are not taking precaution, listen, people are not going into these restaurants. Some people are like, that's like being not xenophobic.
Yeah, it is,
word?
yeah.
But listen, if it originated over there and, it's just like I go to New York all the time to see my family and you going over there and that's how it's transferred, man, listen, you call me what you want. I ain't going to your restaurant. You know what I mean? I'm not going to discriminate against you or nothing like that. But first of all, I don't eat Chinese food anyway. But if I did, I'm not going there. You know what I mean? Like, man, listen. They can tell people, listen, it's safe to go eat here, and it might be. But who want to take that chances? And so this whole thing, and it's not going to last too long. But people might say, have you ever heard of the, I think it was in 1929, they had the yellow something. And,
Oh, yeah.
man, it wiped out millions of people.
Yeah, well, we didn't have the things that we have now. Another thing
Listen,
I wanted
we can have whatever we have now. If they come out with the right strain and do something in the laboratory where they could make it where shut down your whole immune system, then it's a wrap.
Another thing that happened this week with a very popular hip hop artist right now. I'm not really into that, but I know a lot of people are. Meg Thee Stallion.
Mm-hmm. I heard about
She's
that.
having a dispute in her contract with Jay Prince and what's
1501.
1501 Entertainment, and who's also partnered with Carl Crawford to kind of like they backed her.
Yeah.
She has a contract with them. She's now managed by Roc Nation. So she wants to be able to release her music, but they're saying no, not yet, because of some contract dispute. What do you think about that? Do you think that she should be let out? I don't believe people still do deals like that now. I mean, she's got a pretty strong...
No, but see...
What do you think? You keep up with all that.
This is the thing, right? She wouldn't be who she was...
Without them, right?
Without them. And then they took a calculated risk on it. She didn't get all that notoriety because the music was hot. The marketing and promotion, the money that they put behind her, the studio time, that could have been tens of thousands of dollars, that could have been an investment that went nowhere. There's a lot of people that invest in artists that they go wood out of the gate, you know what I mean? So they was able to bring her to prominence, and when you do that, the majors always step in.
Do you think that that's underhanded though, or is that just the way business in?
No, that's the way business step in. The majors will come in and this is what they do. They'll tell you, yo, let me see your contract. Oh, he's giving you 15% off of that. We'll give you 20. You know what I mean? And now she wants to, and it's wrong no matter what, because this is the thing, right? You signed the contract, right? You can't want to renegotiate it before the contract is up.
Does she even have an album?
Yeah,
What do we?
She doesn't even have an album.
Yeah,
so the thing is,
the
thing is like, yo, wait till your contract is up, and that's when you come and you say, yo, you know what? I did 1.5 million. What y'all want?
She hasn't even released anything to base any numbers on to
release stuff,
but is it worth her renegotiating her contract?
She's had a good year.
Yeah, she had a good year.
But, I mean, she still has to fulfill your contract. Like, she's dropped projects, but within her contract, she had to drop at least 45 minutes of a project to be considered an album. None of her projects has reached 45 minutes. I think the closest is like 40 minutes. But to her, I mean, her thing is, I think what her problem is, because she said she don't necessarily want to get out of the contract, she just want to renegotiate some things. And the numbers that everybody's putting out, I don't think, she said that's not really the problem, it's other things. I think it's more so she get her 40%, but now that she's with 300, she's with Roc Nation.
She's splitting that with them too.
They're taking out of that 40%.
Yeah.
So now she probably down to.
But who told her to do that? Who told her to go sign with Roc Nation?
It's perception. You go to Roc Nation, you think, oh, I'm with Roc Nation, they gonna do this for me.
She's trying to make a song with Beyonce. That's what I think.
Yo, but see, her being with Roc Nation, right? See how the whole thing really started. A lot of people don't know. If you go to Isaac Hayes 3.
Oh yeah, he's been giving some good.
No, he got the dude, wasn't it Carl Crawford?
Yeah.
He got him on there speaking, right? He was on tour. They was doing something with Roc Nation. And then it got back to, she's now managed by Roc Nation. You know what I mean?
You know what happened on Christmas or whenever she went to that party and she took that picture with Beyonce, and then she lost her goddamn mind. That's what happened. She thought that she was just gonna be like, oh, it's me and B. We're gonna make a song, the two H-Town chicks, blah 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 blah. And then Jay was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's work this out. And now she's like stuck between what she should do. But this is the same guy that had Def Jam or whoever the record company was come to the Rockefeller meeting like, oh, now I'm with Def Jam. You just pieced out your whole crew. Like he does stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of loyalty. Like these individuals, either way they're gonna get paid. You know what I mean? Now, what the latest development is the judge released the injunction saying that she can put out the music, a temporary injunction. He's gonna let her put out the music, and that they can't say nothing a threatening manner about her and publicly and stuff like that.
Okay,
so
Meg.
she's gonna be able to put out the music, and
it better be good. All this.
It came out first.
How is it? Did you hear it? Is it worth all the fuss? What do you mean family?
He said, nah, her fan base.
Okay, but as just you're an objective listener. You listen to a lot of hip hop.
I mean, it's not like terrible.
You don't. Okay, you don't. You're not fucking with her. Period. I get it. She's not speaking to me either. So I don't know who she's speaking
clearly
to.
to hundreds
The
of
thoughts?
thousands of people. I ain't gonna call them thoughts, but she's speaking to those that are vibrating on a low frequency. Let's just say
Okay,
that.
that's great.
We
I
gonna
like
be
that.
nice
Okay,
this
because
time.
I'm
We ain't
sorry,
gonna call them
thoughts. I mean, I'm
Those are
sorry,
our
people
brothers
that
and sisters.
I'm sorry, people that vibrate on a lower frequency.
Yeah,
I like that.
she vibrating on low frequency.
She told all y'all to make all these bad decisions last summer, and now she can't even get her. I just don't like.
It was
I
a
just
hot
don't like.
girl summer.
I'm a parent, okay? So maybe because I'm coming from the perspective of a grown ass woman that has raised a daughter, and I would just think that I don't want a woman to think that, you know, if you're not popping pussy, you're not gonna make great deals because you're popping pussy and you're still not making great deals. It's not all about that all the time. You gotta kind of know how to. You gotta. Yeah. That's a bad blueprint. And that's what I'm saying. She came in toward the end. She is rolling in toward the end. We kind of like, we had Nicki, we had Cardi, we got all these little baby dolls and all the little whoever's, and she's kind of rolling in on the end of that trend. Like, is she going to be able to sustain her?
I don't think it's that's just the passage of women, female rappers, the mainstream female rappers, I should say.
So you don't think that that's kind of winding down and
No.
we looking for more substance?
Because Cardi,
we just sat here.
With Lil Kim, what's her most iconic picture?
Yeah.
You know, Foxy Brown, that's been going on. That's the passage of.
But that's because men,
rappers.
but at the time, and as time has gone on since the beginning, hip hop has kind of been run by men. It's so, you know, we kind of pass images on that appeal to the majority of the fan base, which is men.
My whole thing is, can't nobody.
So I think when maybe
unless you let them, and if you decide to take your clothes off, then that's on you. I don't blame men for that. You know, as a female, you have a choice. You just making the wrong choice. And, you know.
But what is that? I heard an interview that you did before, and it's something that you spoke to about, you know, just the black experience. One of the pillars you said was family.
Yeah, family.
How is that female image projecting a woman that is going to be in partnership as having a solid foundation as a family? Do you think that that's, I mean, it can happen, I'm sure, but.
No, it can happen. Cardi B and
Offset,
they have a family unit, and they seem to be happy. They have a daughter, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And
so they're doing it. I guess it can be done.
But I think as she gets older and she matures, she's gonna realize that, you know, this is not the
and
image
that's what I'm saying.
I want to project.
24.
You got
I mean,
she had time to grow.
Respectfully, how were you when you were in your early 20s?
What do you mean? How was I?
Yeah, like.
Oh, I was just like I am now.
But I mean,
I'm not that chick though. Like I get it.
The
I
average
get
person your age. Like
think about Daytona.
Think
about
we the
Daytona.
same age.
No, I'm saying at that time.
Yeah.
Your group and your peers at 24, they was wild and they was reckless. Freaknik and all that.
Yeah, Daytona.
Probably not you, but your peers, you know what I mean? So, listen, 24, let me tell you something.
But we also had Queen Latifah, we had Lauryn Hill, we had
Raspberry, you got
Sod Rock. You got alternatives.
You got them people.
But we had them in mainstream. We had those.
It ain't about, to be honest with you, it really ain't about mainstream no more. I'm not even gonna lie. I never heard of Pop Smoke until he died, right?
Me either.
But when I went on the internet, I was like, wow, this dude was popping. And one of his songs, I'm like, all right, I rock with that.
Yeah, you know, people getting discovered out because Lil Uzi.
Yeah, was he mainstream? Was he signed to a label?
Is he still alive?
Oh, Lil Uzi?
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Is. Yo, was he signed to a label?
Smoke?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think he was even signed to a label, but he was popping. So it's getting ready to come to a point where it ain't even going to be about mainstream. You know what I mean?
I think it's there now.
It's all cult followings.
Yeah, you create your movement.
You create your movement, and then somebody scoops it up.
Currency, he's bigger than a lot of these mainstream. He's bigger than.
I love Currency,
but a lot of people don't know who Currency is.
I love Currency.
Currency be having popping.
I like Currency. So I mean, we could wrap it up. I just really wanted to get some information from you, from your perspective, from somebody in our age group, and just
You keep saying our age group.
Come on.
I'm 20 years younger than what y'all may think I am.
Me too. That's what I'm
just,
talking
what's the
about.
name? Listen, I am.
How can people follow you on your thing?
People can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Rahiem Shabazz. I'm on Twitter at Rahiem Shabazz. Facebook at everything's at Rahiem Shabazz. I just kept it all
But you
the way
have to
simple.
RAHIEM because there's so
IEM.
many different ways to spell Rahiem.
Yeah, but you just gotta remember the I always before the E unless there's a C. They taught us that in English. I still remember that, Miss Watkins. I know I was bad in class, but I did listen to some of the things you said. And it has helped me in life. I became a journalist. I know if you're listening, you're very proud of me.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Watkins, she was, oh man. She used to come up to us, she'd be like, come here. Give me your hand. Used to smell my hands and all that.
Why?
You smoking weed? Yeah, we used to have to wash our hands before we get back up in class. But Watkins wasn't playing that. Yeah.
Well, we will be back next week. Hopefully, there won't be much more going on that is bad. Hopefully, some really, really, really good stuff will go on. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at CTD_ATL. I am Kymmy Coco, and check out the Connecting the Dots podcast on all major platforms, and check out our YouTube channel, Innovative Black Station. Thank you for watching or listening. Peace.
Yeah.